So last week we talked about how dating is this process of evaluation with the end goal of that process being marriage. And we talked about how the first and most important thing to do in that process is to get your relationship with God right, because Jesus makes every relationship better. Because loving Jesus well is the strong and healthy foundation that you need if you want healthy relationships to flow out of you. AKA, if you have a source of life, you can be a source of life. Because relationships, they aren't about what you can get out of someone. It's about how you can mutually grow and push each other and build each other up. Like, it's uplifting, it's not life-sucking. And so I want to answer this question of who you should date. Because now you know that you must first chase after Jesus first and foremost in a relationship. But now I want us to look at who it is that we're looking for on that journey. And there's this metaphor that I like to use when thinking about dating. It's like an image, really, of a person running. And it goes that a person should be running after God with their whole life, like with everything they got. They should be going to church, going to small groups, seeking to grow spiritually, reading their Bible, studying it, praying, getting to know God, being in community, serving in the church, serving the people around you in your life, and making an impact for Christ wherever you are. Like, we're meant to be running after God with everything that we've got. And every so often you might be running, you look off to the side, and you might notice that someone looks a little bit cute. And you might say to yourself, like, hey, start running a little closer to that person, all right? And you might blame the breeze, like, oh, just kind of push me over here in that direction, but we both know what you were doing. And then since you're there, you ask them if you want to do something romantic, like go bowling or something, and so you can get to know each other. But keep in mind, like, you're still running throughout this process. You don't stop. And you start to get to know this person as you're both pursuing God, and you start to see if this might be someone that you want to run together with. And maybe she's like, oh, no, I don't really like your face. And so you're like, okay, that's cool, whatever. So you head back over to your side and you just keep running. But maybe you two start to get to know each other, and you find out that you go well together, and that this is the kind of person, and maybe they have the character that I could see myself spending my life with. And so you continue to get to know them, and you're running with each other, and you think that maybe someday you could get married, and so you just lock hands and you run into forever together. And the point of this picture is that you're not running after a person. Like we talked about that last week. We're supposed to pursue Jesus with everything that we've got. And every once in a while you might see someone who's living that same way alongside you, and it might work out. But it might not. But either way, the foundation is built on your race towards God, not on your race towards a boyfriend or girlfriend, which I think is a problem that a lot of this world has. Like, we're more focused on the characteristics of a person than we are on the character. I mean, it's true, isn't it? Just think, like, when I ask the question, what are you looking for in a guy or a girl? What are the things that pop into your head? Or what are the things that your friends might talk about sometimes? They talk about features and characteristics, things about them. I mean, seriously, think about it. What's the last conversation you had with a girl? Like, what kind of guy are you looking for? It's like, well, I don't know. Like, I want him to be tall, but not too tall. Like, just taller than me. And I want him to be strong, but not like bulky, but like lean strong. Like, I want him to see the muscles. Oh, and he's got to have abs. Like, he's definitely got to have abs. But I don't want him to be in the gym all the time. Like, I want it to be natural, right? And I want him to have like a good jawline, like not huge, but kind of like Ryan Gosling. Like, I want him to look like Ryan Gosling, all right? But I also want him to be funny. I want him to be able to make me laugh, but not like funny all the time. Like, I want him to be able to be serious. Like, I want him to be like Ryan Reynolds funny, not like gross Ryan Reynolds, but like fun Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? And obviously, like, I want him to look good, but I don't want him to be like so into his looks. Like, he's got to be Zac Efron built, but not like Zac Efron into himself. Do you know what I'm talking about? And in terms of money, like, he doesn't probably have to be Mark Zuckerberg rich. I just want him to be able to buy me all of the things that I want. And then we go on and on and on. We just kind of assemble the qualities of our own fantasy person. And that's not okay, because it turns dating into a consumeristic sport. It takes human beings and it makes them commodities. And you see why we might have an objectification problem here in America. And let me just say, like, while those things aren't all necessarily bad things to notice, they make for terrible foundations for a lasting relationship. Because again, we have to keep the goal of dating in mind, which is what? It's marriage. And in a marriage, you want strength and security, which is why it's important to look for the qualities that the Bible lays out in a guy or girl you're considering dating, to see if he or she will provide you that strength and stability. Proverbs 25:28, it says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Like the walls in this passage, they can represent security and peace. Like if your end goal is to marry the person that you're dating, you want to be with someone who has self-control and who has character and will bring security and peace to the relationship. If we only seek a person that will satisfy our needs and matches the characteristics of a fantasy person, we'll be met with a lot of disappointment. So don't just seek a relationship with someone out of loneliness or to fill this kind of God-sized hole in your heart. Seek a relationship to do life with someone, to get to know them over time, to have an attitude of serving and building them up. Proverbs 31:30, it says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. And this goes for guys too. Like outside appearance, beauty, or handsomeness, it's gonna fade. It's not something to base a relationship on. And so instead of looking at the outside characteristics of a person, look at their inner character. And so what I want to spend tonight doing is run through 7 different characteristics that you should look for and identify in a person that you might want to date. And the first 3, they're non-negotiable. Like if they don't meet these, like they're out. But 4 through 7, they're a little more flexible and up to personal preference. And I do want to say this too, that these are points that are laid out by one of my favorite pastors. His name's Ben Stewart, from a series that he did on singleness, dating, engagement, and marriage. And if you want to hear a more full and well thought out explanation of all of these points, the link to that message will be linked below. And I hope every single one of you goes and listens to it. He wrote a book on it too. It's phenomenal stuff. But let's dig into his list of questions that you should be asking with number 1, which says, are they a believer of Jesus Christ? Because this right here, like this will determine their allegiance and the direction of their lives. If they aren't a believer and you are, like your allegiance is to Christ and theirs is to themselves, like that's draining. In my opinion, this is something that you should ask and know on day 1 of dating. If the person that you're dating isn't a Christian, you're heading in completely different directions, which creates distance and it creates a tension. It doesn't create stability and security. Also, it is never a good idea to missionary date. It's like, well, I'm a Christian and we'll date and I'll change them. No, you won't. Like the strain and weight of the difference in allegiance will drag you back and it'll slow you down, making it easier for you to compromise your beliefs and your boundaries. Like it's never a good idea. Ask, are they a believer of Jesus Christ? And if not, that's okay. Just keep running. Number 2 is, are they an active pursuer of God? Anyone can say that they're a Christian, but look for someone who pursues God in service and on their own. Like this is something that you observe over time. If they're only going to church and pursuing God because you are, you might want to reevaluate things. I've also noticed in my life and with other people that I've dated in the past that actively pursuing God, it makes a huge difference in everything, like how they treat you, their character, and the quality of your spiritual conversations. And so make this a priority. Like we talked about last week, if a person is actively pursuing Jesus, the love of Jesus is going to flow out of them. And you should be able to see that in how they treat you and how they treat the people they interact with. And the third thing is look for someone who can keep the same pace as you. Like you want to be running with someone who makes you play your best game. It's not only important that you're running in the same direction, but you have to be going at a similar pace. Like run as fast as you can after God. Don't slow down or adjust your speed to be with someone. Like find someone who's running at your best pace and who makes you play your best game. Okay, now let's move into a few characteristics that are a little more flexible and to personal preference, but they're still very important. The 4th one, it says, are you theologically compatible? Like this is an area where you both talk about the details, like where are you going to go to church and what do you believe about what you believe? Like you want to explore the many values of your faith and agree on as much as possible. The 5th thing is, are you both socially compatible? Like do you like hanging out with this person? You would think that this is like an obvious thing, but it's really not. I see so many couples who are together but don't really like each other. So do you like hanging out with this person? Like when you're hanging out, are you enjoying their company? Or are you just waiting until it's over? Like if this is the person that you're going to marry, you're gonna be spending a lot of time just sitting and talking with them. And so if you sit down for dinner with them and then 30 seconds later you're running out of things to say and you can't help but think like, this is torture! Like, get me out! Maybe you're not meant to be in forever with each other, but what do I know? Notice and see if the person that you date is a compliment to you instead of a copy of you. Like, you're not looking for a yes man, you're looking for someone to complement your unique characteristics. Like, you might be an introvert, they might be an extrovert. Like, that's okay. You're looking for a person who's going to continually bring out the best version of you. And let me just say this too, like, you can't figure all that out if all you do is spend your time making out on the couch. Like, you've got to talk to each other. You have to see if you actually like to spend time with each other. And the sixth thing is, are you philosophically compatible? And what I mean by that is, are you both headed in the same direction in life? Like, you can meet an awesome Christian person, but if their dream and calling is to do missions in Africa and yours isn't, maybe you shouldn't get married just because you're not going in the same directions. Like, as awesome as you both are, you want to make sure that you're headed in a similar direction in life so that you can complement each other and live out your callings together. And lastly, number 7, are you physically attracted to them? Like, physical attraction, it does play a part in dating, but it's not the first thing to look for, nor is it something that you need to base your relationship on. You might not be physically attracted to someone at first sight, but as you get to know them, they might become more beautiful in your eyes. Like I said earlier too, many people make this the foundation of their relationship, but let me say this again, it's a bad foundation. Like, you're looking for character. That should be the most attractive thing to you. But I'm not ignoring the fact that physical attraction does play a part. Just do not give it more weight than it deserves. And so those are the 7 questions that you should ask before you date someone to help determine their character. Like, are they a believer in Jesus Christ? Are they an active pursuer of God? Can they keep the same pace as you? Are you both theologically compatible? Are you both socially compatible? Are you philosophically compatible? And are you physically attracted to them? And it's not an exhaustive list either, but I think it's a great place to start if you're thinking of beginning the process of evaluation towards marriage with someone. And now let me just finish by saying this, and this is something that's true for everyone, but especially for you as middle and high school students. It might be really tempting, especially in our culture, to hear this and go, all right, boom, I gotta go spend all of my time looking for a person with all of these qualities that check all of these boxes until I find them so I can be complete, so I can be happy. And some people, they're so desperate to have a boyfriend or girlfriend that's like they're walking around with a set of binoculars on, always on the hunt. But let me just say this. I didn't give you this list so that you can go off and find this person and everything will be perfect and easy and your life will be great and better than it ever could have been. Like, that's baloney. I gave you this list because it's important to evaluate the person you're dating. But also I gave you this list as a guide for your life. Andy Stanley, he has this quote from one of his books in relation to dating where he says, be the person that the person you're looking for is looking for. In other words, if you're looking for a person of character, be a person of character. Don't sit by and wait for this person to arrive in your life. Become this type of person. Run as fast as you can pursuing Jesus and his calling for your life and develop these characteristics that we talked about today. Like, spend less time in pursuit of a person and more time becoming a person of character, because their job when you find someone, it's not to fix you or to give you security or make you feel better. That wait is not meant for a person, it's meant for God. And so lean on him, run after him, and someday in the future, as you're running, you'll look to your side and you'll see someone whose character matches, and you two can begin evaluating each other, and you can see if you're ready to run into forever with each other.